how do you become a fan of League of Legends if you don't play, or just don't want to? In October, the League of Legends World Championships will once again be one of the biggest events in esports. At last year's championships in Seoul, over 32 million fans watched the best players in the world compete for $1 million pot. But while stadiums roar with screaming fans after amazing gameplay, the game itself can be really difficult for the layperson such as myself to appreciate, if we're being really honest. This is an esports problem in general. They're often so intricate and so intense that they have trouble engaging casual fans. Although I don't need to be Zlatan Ibrahimovic to enjoy the hell out of a match of League of Legends can be downright impenetrable if you don't play the game yourself. Well, don't fret, because I'm here to give you the X's and O's. We'll start in Summoner's Rift, the only League of Legends map played at the pro level. It looks a little something like this. Blue team's base is down here, and red team's is all the way across the map at the opposite corner, way up here. Each base houses a glowing piece of quartz called the Nexus, and the first team who penetrates the enemy base and destroys the Nexus wins. Pretty simple, right? Well, that's our show. I'm just kidding. It's between the bases where the game is really played, and who plays the field better determines who ultimately wins or loses. The playing field is divided into two types of terrain, the lanes and the jungle. The lanes are these long open clearings that lead between the two bases. There's the top lane, which goes along the top of the map naturally, the mid lane, which connects the bases as the crow flies, and the bottom or bot lane loops around the bottom of the map. And in this area here, between the 3-lane freeway, are the twisting back roads and winding paths known as the jungle. As a general rule, teams will put 2 players in the bottom lane, 1 player in the mid, 1 at the top, and a lone wolf out there just kind of roaming in the jungle. So at the beginning of the game, each team is evenly matched up and in position with a line drawn in the sand at the middle of the field. Then the fun begins. Both teams want to just march right over to the enemy side and destroy their opponent's base, but the thing is, that's about as friendly and as easy a walk as crossing from East Berlin to West Berlin during the Cold War. Since both teams are evenly matched at the start of the game, a stalemate will quickly develop in the midfield. Thus begins the jockeying for advantages, which is done by completing objectives. One such objective is to slay the dragon who lives in the pit right about here, which will reward the team who gets the kill with goodies like more firepower and faster speed. Poor dragons, always getting slain. Another major objective is knocking out the other team's towers. As you may have noticed, each lane is lined with towers positioned here, 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 and here, with a total of 11 of them on each team's side of the field. And these towers are extremely valuable to their respective teams. For one, they deal damage to invaders. Think of them as linesmen for their respective teams, buffering lanes from total enemy dominance, or just the gauntlet from American Gladiators.
He's getting stopped up by Turbo, but he gets through.
They reinforce their lane and inform you via the minimap when a rival team member is trying to sneak up your lane. This gives you more what's called map awareness, a vital asset needed to control a match. So the game often starts by players trying to take down enemy towers to deprive their enemies of vision and attack power. But these towers are hard to siege because they lie behind enemy lines where it's much easier to die because you're closer to where your enemies come from. It's kind of like dodgeball. When the game starts, you can run to the center line where there's more potential reward, but also a lot more risk. And just like in dodgeball, where everyone can gang up on one person to take them out, League has the idea of ganking. A gank is when a number of teammates gang up on one enemy. For instance, suppose that an altercation breaks out in the top lane between a player on the blue team and a player on the red team right here near mid-map. Only another blue player, known as the jungler, is lying in wait over here in the jungle. When the fight ensues, the jungler will come out of the jungle and join her teammate for a double team, easily defeating the red top laner who's sent all the way back to the base to respawn. Basically, it's a timeout and they have to wait to re-enter play. This gives the blue players in the top lane a window to take that first tower. And to save it, the red mid laner, who is over here minding his own business, will have to abandon his position in order to defend that top tower. As the battle rages on, it starts to become unpredictable, with players leaving their lanes and large skirmishes called teamfights just breaking out all over the battlefield. As towers fall and players keep getting killed, this somewhat organized chaos will ultimately culminate in these amazing endgames where everyone's cheering or crying. sometimes both. Of course, this is only the beginning to comprehending a massive esport like League of Legends. As with any sport, the rabbit goes as deep as you want to follow it. There's all kinds of upperclassmen stuff that we didn't touch on, including higher level offensive tactics like split pushing and defensive maneuvers like warding that protects from ganking, which I talked about earlier. You can see how this gets complicated. And then there are all kinds of complex dynamics between teammates, like the support who protects the carry until it's strong enough to storm the gates in the late game. I know it seems like it all requires a lot of homework, but as someone who had to explain American football to his wife last year, trust me, it's no less complicated or arcane, and once you get it, it's really, really meaningful. Oh, and the Penta Kills aren't bad either. I hope this gives you at least an introduction to the basic strategy of the game, so the next time you're watching some competitive League play, you can be loving it too. Anyway, class dismissed, except for you back there. See me afterwards. So what do you think? Did that give you a basic primer for League of Legends? Is there some other aspect of the game that you feel like is really elementary and maybe we should do a future episode on? Hash it out in the comments. And if you like what you saw, please subscribe. I'll see you next week. One last thing, Game Show is running a survey for our audience. We'll link to it down in the description. So over the last 2 years or so, I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of you in person. A lot of you I interact with in the comment section as well, but we've never done like a very systematic attempt at trying to understand who Game Show viewers are, aside from the information that YouTube kind of gives us about you. So we're running this survey to ask you what you like, what you dislike, not just in games, but also in culture at large. And for one person, one randomly selected person, we'll pluck your name from the list if you decide to fill out the survey, and we'll send you a free PBS t-shirt. I have one, they're awesome, super comfortable. Everyone will love you.